Hello. Today's topic. Um, I think I have talked about overall impact of Corona, but just have touched very vague uh, some area of it. But I think is huge in the long run. We probably hopefully get over with that within a year at or a year and a half even. Its immediate impact gonna be nationalism, more protectionism, back and forth between border states. But I think the real challenge, um, not Corona, but Corona style expectation coming to nations, gonna be far deep. This is, we are as we're talking now already in U.S. We had almost, I think over 60 now, thousand people probably died, and my expectation is gonna go over 150, um, which they estimated on the 60 or 90 at one point, on the pessimistic side. But I think it's by the time we wrap up, or if unless we come out with a vaccine. So the impact of these and what we learn about these is gonna be subject of discussions. You know, people from statesmen, the last people really we should be listened to, involved, um, academians, um, you know, um, business people, industries, entrepreneurs, you name it. But I think we should be listening to most to philosophers. Um, someone what we need now. In fact, we could dig out in the history of philosophy and find people like Cicero. I was reading about this guy. He was amazing philosopher, political philosopher of Roman, probably the best one. He was influenced, of course, by uh, Latin and I would say Greek. But so we can dig out in this tree of philosophy and see what we can learn from the ancestors there, and not just on the West. I think someone like Saadi, the poets, has things to tell us about their the the move forward at a bigger scale. That's what I like to talk about here. It's not about necessarily border states, the competition that we are going to be facing, and rightly, between on one side is China and the others, free nations or led by U.S., specifically United States. I think this competition that uh, it was at one point, we were thinking that maybe is a good thing, but can go other side and be negative and go into armament and all that, which is bad for the world, and that's become itself a crisis. So to avoid that and all that, people gonna need to talk about it. People should be open about it. People should be right about it. This thing not gonna come from China, I tell you. It's just because their system is not even in India, because they don't have that tradition, even though there's a freedom there, and people can express themselves as opposed. You cannot compare that with a very command control system in China. Well, they have things to offer and say, and they already proved their case. Chinese, they're efficient, matter of at least efficient to control the news of the virus and how we had and the casualty. I'm thinking still we don't know about China how it is. But anyways, it seems like they control it effectively. At least that seems. We don't know exactly. So I'm not even sure. I even not as I used to incline to give them more credit on their efficiency, and I'm not sure about that. So these are things gonna come out definitely. People gonna live there. People gonna be um, hopefully smart Chinese and educated Chinese and free-minded Chinese. They come out eventually and write about these things, and they join to tell what happened there. because it's a mystery now. Really, it's mystery. No, I mean, it's funny thing is that someone like myself, when I go back and read uh, things that I was talking about it maybe 2 months ago, and while the president of the United States were naively saying, "Oh no, we're 15 people, we're gonna pack, wrap it up, and you're not gonna be impacting us," and I was like, "Wow, you know." I think this kind of costs. I would say, at before that, before Corona, probably had you had a 60% chance in my book. Now it dropped to 40%. So this election gonna be more skeptical than ever for him, for President Trump. So besides this local thing at the border and this competition that ahead of us and not pretty some of them, but I think in the long run we talk about two camp. In fact, I think the extreme right in West and China. I mean, the system they're in the same kind of camp, I would say. And the other side, I would say, free-minded people who care about environment, people who not necessarily they have a problem with um, consumerism as we know it, or experienced before Corona, and there would be another camp. So it's environmentalists, not talk about necessarily green movements and all the left on the extreme. No, talk about people with who think humanity in the long run, very long run. If you're gonna safeguard this is a huge lesson for us. Nature already got a mercy. That's why I love here, come here and places like that to I refuge here owls, and places like that is a heaven. I'm extremely lucky, but I want this be left and better for generation after us. Um, so environment is a huge thing, and other viruses and other we and if they go in the negative state nation state competition as we know it, we could have not honor the environment itself as a threat and as a problem, but also we add to it by being competitive in the armament and not just nuclear but other bio. We already seen its impact, with this virus. So I hope humanity kind of step back. That's why it's international um, agencies or international institutions like UN and UNESCO and other ones and WHO and other ones are may not be effective because we didn't want them to be effective. We should expect it's just like how they run a company. You have to know the stakeholder behind the stakeholder on them was the peoples of the world. And how to push them to be more efficient for the money we nations contribute to that. And I think they failed us miserably. Who in some ways, they were really light on their approach first with the virus. They could have played their role better. Not to mention intelligence services in the United States, they failed too. With someone like me 2 months ago was saying, what I'm seeing now, I'm not surprised. I expected even worse. I'm probably gonna come worse, but I'm not sure. I hope not, of course. But I was expecting this, and by then we even had one person dead then. So where I got those information, just simply reading things. I was just comparing, just using my simple brain. I was seeing what's going on in China, and then I saw from my own country what's going on. I was massacring people, and it go back to how it was managed. Damn thing. So people gotta be analyzed how we manage it here. We could have done better, definitely, but forward, what they need to do and how to release back the economy and all that. That's so if you perform so far mediocre, 50% maybe good. How we gonna? What is promising to handle the opening, and not hitting more cost by prematurely and immaturely and to open the economy. So these are all related, but I want to go back to my main point here is that the impact. Basically, I don't see that border state of, let's say, China versus US and even not even West versus countries like China and maybe I don't know what other country would have allied with them, but um, Russia play every side, so it's not counted. It's not important anyway at this point. Um, Even though it's big size, yeah, but it's a high middle power. So we talk about China and pretty much West at one point. But I this is a physical ordering of how things is. But I would say is more, again, I said earlier, is I would say more like at even higher level. You have two sides: a side that believe that we have to exploit the earth to that extreme, and another point that says no, slow down. Maybe this corona actually in that way was good for us. Already environment got a break. And so in the huge lesson that we can, I think environment is the only one for a winner for sure of this corona. So birds, animals, nature, got a chance to breathe, and maybe reminded us that what is ahead of us with the environment. And imagine just, if we're not careful enough, maybe, as I heard, the impact would be like some states like Florida and countries like Bangladesh and other things, they can go underwater, So these things will be book will be written about it, and people are gonna be talk about it. And in free countries we can do that, thanks God. And I'm happy about that. And I think this is gonna be very challenging, and we need environment and stimulate that, and people be not suppressed because of the ideas, and that's the most threat to benefit of humanity at large. So I see two camps: a camp that doesn't want to believe that we need to create job via consuming unrestricted use of resources of the nature, and another one that it says is more cautious about it and take responsibility. So to my that point, I think I definitely belong to the second group, and I see this is as more citizen. It could be Chinese that in China actually that think like me, and there could be American here that look like the Chinese ruling class at this point, and just production, and making the world depend on their production. That's exactly what it is. It's just like a Arab oil 1975. They were really dependent on that oil. That's why the prices went up, and they boycott. Suddenly. So same thing. So this about relationship and strategic. Um, um, who says stocks or manufacturing. Yeah, that's true. That we're gonna shift that some to maybe in the U.S. or other countries would consider. How about the small countries? What they gonna do? So I think it's beyond this. We should say way beyond that. And I would say the camp is between consumerism, okay, and exploitation of the life, of the nature to the extreme, than somebody who is more balanced. And that, and to this point, I think is population is a big, huge problem with the world. I think my wish is we should be cutting down. I don't think. I hope. Never. I mean, nature by itself is clean itself. I mean, if we wouldn't have the technology and we wouldn't know about the virus, probably would have killed, already 10 times more than what they did. Not because we just social distancing. All this costs it really saved a lot of life. We would have been probably not observing that, and we would be more. You could argue also we wouldn't have that much transfer of people and all that. That's true. But anyway, it's a call from nature, and I think we should honor that and do something about it. And so we're gonna be two camps basically in the worldwide. And I belong to the second one. I won't bring it that way. I see it that way. And population, overpopulated countries like China and India, and even in the United States, I think it's a balance, as far as the population to the land, but uh, underdeveloped population. That's what I mean by that too. We need to, so education and and healthcare, and we have to work on these things at the international level. Now, this virus nothing proof is proof that we're all related, and we cannot just totally ignore something going on, let's say in Somalia, like we've been doing. In fact, we just sell them arms to keep going the flame for, and we've been doing. We are guilty of many of these things. So those old business need to be revised, and will be. Smart people of the world, educated people. I'm in Massachusetts. What do you expect? I think like that. I'm so proud to be in the state. This is heaven. Uh, uh, so it's natural home for people like me to think this way. And I think they're looking in the solution at the highest level. And I think opening and talk about it would be awesome, and it's coming. And mm, with the hope that the camp that would think, respect life, respect, and in a way is even though it's philosophical, be all that it comes to spirituality too. I mean, when we respect this plant here right now, when I respect this water, when it's something is spiritual about it. Something that Indian who were American Indians, they were honored. They look at, there's something, and by respecting your nature, by respecting the resources to not overuse it. Fortunately, I think one of the the fossil fuel is gonna be one of those areas that we're gonna step back, and we're gonna use more like alternative source of energies. And all we're gonna be talking, this is gonna happen. This is it creates also a lot of opportunities. Not not necessarily in order to create job and opportunities, you have to be overutilize the resources and burn out. It's just like a flame, and you create suddenly a light, and then you don't have it sustain. You cannot sustain it. But alternative energy would be a place of a new investment, new activities, and all that. Of course, you have to invest on education and people. So I hope this was useful. I just give you a vision of what I see going as far as topics and challenges and ideas. But I really see, in a nutshell, two camps: camps that believe in science, believe in open dialogue, and believe in not overutilizing resources, but more balanced approach to. And still, I believe in competition and and not not monopoly, right? That's the goal of the government. Should be not run the business, but remove the hindrance, remove the opportunists who make things monopoly. You want to be competition in your economy in order to progress, but at the same time, you have to respect your nature. Sorry, this chopper is making noise, but that's what it is. You see it. Really fly over me wherever I go, or maybe I go sit under the chopper. Let's see the guy. Right there. I think this is a route actually for them. So all the best. So two camps. Choose your camps, right? Choose your camps as far as you want the nature, have it for your generation and generation after that, or you just like a flame, create lots of job and good time for one generation. We have to think very long term. This was a good break for humanity to sit and think about things. Isn't that beautiful here? All the best.